positive and negative thoughts about the Western influence. This is something we can talk about all day. We've seen Korea.
I want to interview you.
We've seen Korea way back when. Of course, your first trip here was in '92, you said. My first trip was in '95, and we've seen, you know, things from back then and a lot of changes happening. Well, how do you find the changes happening in Korea?
Well, you know, being in this sort of isolated world of 국악, you don't. I think it's a little bit like me comparing Alaska to Connecticut, because the world that I was in when I was here before was really in this world of 국악. I lived with my teacher. She's 인간문화재 for 가야금 병창. She's National Living Treasure for
nobody who doesn't speak Korean understood that sentence, but all the Koreans got that one, right? Good.
She's National Living Treasure for a genre of kind of pansori singing with 가야금. It's still like Korean, right?
Okay.
We can't get around that.
You can't get around that, yes.
Zither playing with song. And so I lived with my teacher, and I really lived as the English translation would be disciple, right? 제자. Her name was Kang Jong-suk, who I lived with. And I lived in this world, and all day, every day, I was only doing 국악. So I thought that was the center of my attention as far as my Korean life went. I wasn't hanging out in Daehangno or Hongdae. I was just at 국악원 practicing and meeting other 제자. And so I thought that all Koreans knew a lot about 국악, and you know, and now I come in in a different position, right? I'm a professor now, which is socially one of the highest positions in Korea.
Right.
Which, coupled with this 가야금 player position, which is one of the lowest positions in Korea.
가야금, why do you say that? Why do you say 가야금
really,
is a low position?
I never felt it so strongly as I do, like being on my own in Daejeon. I'm out of the protective circle of my teacher's sort of realm, and I'm on my own. And the way that people treat you as a 가야금 player, I can tell you, is they treat you like a 기생.
Really?
It's very interesting.
So they feel like it's that.
And so there's a real struggle as a 가야금 player to, you know, bring up, and that's why, you know, you see these departments in the university. This is bringing up the level of the player and changing the image of the instrument to something that would be comparable at least to playing the piano or playing the violin, right? And so that, you know, that's part of what I'm doing. And in the West, I'm usually playing new music, or what Koreans call fusion, which is, I think, a misnomer.
Okay.
In any case, in Daejeon, I play usually 1 or 2 concerts a week, you know, all over the country actually. But I'm playing 산조 and I'm singing 병창, so it's really traditional music. I'm wearing hanbok. And this has changed.
That fusion word is a misnomer, huh? 그 단어를 사용하지 말아야 된다고 생각해요.
시작했으니까 어쩔 수 없어요.
A misnomer. 그 단어가 안 마땅하지 않다고 얘기하는 거죠.
I know, I can't stop that. It's going by itself.
The fusion.
It's like stain for stainless, and just super for mini market.
For market and stuff. Yeah.
So fusion, it just means anything that's not traditional, right? Almost in Korea.
Right.
Fusion originally came from this. It's a very specific word coming out of jazz in America.
Right.
Right, but we can't go back with Korean language. It's already there.
Well, and it's, you know, this is with every language we take in, you know, how many words in English come from French, and
exactly.
the French people go, that's wrong, you don't use it that way. And we go, no, we use it that way, what do you want? So,
yeah, we say Valdez in Alaska, not Valdez.
Okay, there you go. So
exactly.
These sorts of things and these changes.
Well, I haven't noticed. What I wanted to say by all of that roundabout way was to say that the change for me hasn't been, you know, I haven't seen change. It's just that my life here is completely different one. So I haven't seen change from within or something like that. It's just that I'm in a completely different situation.
You've had periods that you lived in Korea and periods that you lived back in the United States, and so you started out, you know, in '92, early '90s. You had your stint in early '90s, and then you've got your stint here. Now, having been away from Korea for that long a time, and then coming back, I mean, you flew out of Gimpo, and then came back into Incheon and went, I mean, come on, that's a change.
No, it's beautiful.
You must have seen some big changes.
It's yes and no.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's KTX now, and there's beautiful Incheon Airport. I mean, after, I would say
Gimpo
number
was
one.
pretty bad.
Gimpo was pretty bad.
Now it's much
pretty
nicer,
bad.
Yeah.
So there's material things that are different. There's, and when I used to go to, when I was at Seoul National University, I lived in Shilimdong, and it was all just traditional market, and now it's all 7-Eleven, and they changed all the names of Shilimdong.
Yeah.
So, there's changes like that.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know.
I personally prefer the traditional markets to the 7-Eleven.
Well, let me put it this way. The biggest change I've seen in East Asia has been in China. I mean, that change has been humongous. It's changed every aspect of life. So where we used to ride bicycles, there's cars and you're going to get hit by one if you tried to ride your bicycle.
Right.
All the traditional work units, the danwi, have been broken down. The communities have been broken up. Everybody's moved out to houses and apartments. I mean, the whole fabric of society has changed. And of course, I missed the old ways because there was something very creative about it, right? There was hardship, but there was a real spirit of community and a real sense that we were creating something together and we were coming up with solutions, and there was always ways to come around things and come up with solutions for things. And now everybody's just kind of like disconnected from each other. That happened in Korea much earlier.
Okay, so
that had already happened by the time I came to Korea, and it happened in the time I've been gone from China. So I feel like that's been a really huge change. Whereas Korea, it's already been broken up in that way. All the old houses are gone, and everybody's living in apartments now. And the whole that major change happened before I got here.
No, but is this difference?
And I wanted to say that I said I miss the old ways in China, but everybody was like, "But we're comfortable now." I'm like, "Well, yeah, you don't have to go down the street for the toilet anymore, and we don't have to sleep."
That's big.
I mean, when I lived in China, I lived illegally with a family, and we didn't have a toilet.
Why were you living illegally with a family?
Oh, it's a long story. I had to write a self-criticism and everything, but the family got divorced.
What was illegal?
Well, Chinese and Americans can't live together.
Oh, it was at the time illegal for a Westerner to live in a Korean's home, in a Chinese person's home.
So
you were living illegally in a Chinese
person's home, and they have these rope beds there.
Wow.
And the parents got divorced while I was staying there, but since they were assigned a work